Welcome everybody to season 1 of Break Up the Daily Grind. If you are just joining us for the first time, I would like to introduce ourselves and say we are glad that you found us. My name's Ben, and my co-host Corey is across the table. Hey Corey, what's anything exciting going on?
Oh, no, pure misery, suffering, lots of studying, lots of not having a social life at the moment.
Yeah, sometimes social life's overrated anyway, right?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's been productive. This is my like break that I get. Yeah. Before I go back to
this is your braincation?
Yeah. Before I go back to the ninth circle of hell really quick.
Now you said you're studying. Do you mind saying what you're studying?
Yeah, I don't mind. Right now I'm studying for my Security Plus certification.
Nice.
It's not fun. No. It's exhausting. It's a lot of material to cover.
A lot of material.
But it's interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, so. I think you'll do just fine.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
Yeah, I know you will. And before we get started with today's topic, we would like to also let you know that this episode today has been brought to you by
the Happy Household Podcast. Happy Household Podcast is a couple that wants to share the things in their life of challenges that has helped them make a home into a happy household. How's your guys' podcast going?
We just started. We've got about 5 or 6 episodes recorded.
Yeah.
We released our first one on Valentine's Day, no less.
Oh, perfect timing to start.
Yeah.
What do you typically talk about?
Just basically daily check-ins, right? Things that we had to deal with maybe since the last time we recorded. Mm-hmm. I think the episode that's been just put out was a start.
I'm not surprised if you're already 6 episodes in. That was like what? Like
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, and between that and this one and full-time job.
Well, look, if you want to know,
family.
You can go check it out yourself.
There you go.
And that'll be your third podcast that you got going.
Right now it's the second one. The third one hasn't started yet.
But that one's in production. So you got 3 in total.
No, we haven't started that production. We've been training and learning.
Oh, okay.
But we hope to start recording the next season or the first season here within hopefully sometime this month.
Okay.
But between 2 podcasts, a full-time job, a full-time family, it's exhausting, and sometimes they all get blended together.
It can be a busy hobby. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I'm the one that does all the editing on top of that. Yep. So, but I think I found a little trick in order to make my recordings or my editing way easier. So
nice.
Yep. Anyhow, so with all that out of the way, this is going to be our bit of dad jokes, and what we have decided to do. Yeah, there you go. We've decided to set this little bit of dad jokes up for dedication. This one is dedicated to a very special friend of mine. His name is Paul. May peace be in your soul and laughter in your heart. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
So, I ordered 2 things from Amazon. Right?
Right.
You're supposed to ask me, what did I order?
Oh. What did you order?
I ordered 2 things. I ordered chicken and an egg, and I'll let you know which one shows up first.
It's not even funny, though. No. What? All right, you're going to have to do better than that.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, I got to throw some dumb ones in there. What do duck hunters like to eat with their cheese?
Oh, I think I know this one. Okay, I don't know this one. I was going to say, it's got to have something to do with, like, mallard.
They like quackers.
Oh, no, you're right.
Okay, where do cows go camping?
Where do cows go camping?
Upstate New York.
So dumb.
So you do know that you have to watch what you say around the egg whites, right?
Why?
Because they can't take a yolk.
Oh.
Okay. We're going to dedicate that little section of that little bit of dad jokes to somebody special. So what we would like you as listeners to do is to let us know who you would like to dedicate our bit of dad jokes to.
Nice.
So you could email that someone special to us, right? And let us know just a little quick, who you're dedicating, and then maybe if that person had a specific dad joke that they loved or there was their go-to joke, throw that in there. We will make sure that it gets played throughout that dedication.
Nice.
And you can email that stuff to us at mo9studios@gmail.com. And maybe if we get enough dedications along with our dad jokes, favorite dad jokes and favorite quote of the week, we can roll all that in and do them all over again. So hopefully that put a smile on your face. And now with that calamity shenanigans out of the way, we can get back to the topic for today, which is going to be urban legends.
Yep. /paranormal shenanigans.
Yeah, so let's go. Again, I'm going to start with urban legends in our backyard because why not, right? So, Keweenaw Peninsula. Have you ever heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's in the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, there's called the Keweenaw Peninsula, lies the singing sands of Bete Grese. Grese? I know I probably said that wrong. But it's right in the lake, right on the shores of Lake Superior. And this legend says that the sands on the beach are said to sing if anyone who visits or walks on the beach. Okay, so the legend says the singing comes from the spirit of the Native American maiden who lost her lover when he perished in Lake Superior. Her attempts to contact him are with the singing that she transmits through the sands. Visitors that come to the beach are encouraged to help the maiden find her man. Just press the palms of your hand on the sands and rub hard. Or just smack the sand with your palm. The noise that it emits sounds like a puppy's bark or rubbing of a balloon. That's kind of creepy, isn't it? Even though the singing is more of a natural phenomenon rather than a supernatural one, the mysterious part comes from the people that attempt to scoop the sand up and take it home with them. Once it's off the beach, the sand refuses to sing. No other sand in the lake makes these sounds, adding to the mystery.
Alien life form living in the sand.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that it only works in that spot.
Yeah.
It's creepy. Also, the name of Bete Grese, which I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, is translated as gray beast. It was named after a creature that was spotted and named by the Native Americans many, many years ago. So this beach is, if anybody ever wants to go up there, right now it's cold as crap, so you won't be up there now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're ever up that way and you happen to stop by, this beach is located off of US 41 on the Keweenaw Peninsula, which is very close to the fort that we went up there one year as a kid.
Yep.
It's not very far from there, which would have been kind of cool if we didn't know we would stop by. That would be
definitely check
cool.
that out.
Yeah.
So mine's actually also from Michigan. And so if anybody's familiar with the Upper Peninsula, they might know the story of Marquette's Holy Family Orphanage that was founded in the early 1900s up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And so it's a story of abused orphans, murdered orphans. Well, nowadays the orphanage is it's a retirement home. It got
converted.
Yeah, it got destroyed and then rebuilt as a retirement home. But the building itself was standing abandoned for many years before it was turned into that. And it's a shame it got turned into that before I could check it out, because I thought that would be really cool. But there's 1915, Holy Family Orphanage up in Marquette became one of the religion's biggest orphanages, and housing up to 200 children at one point.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah. And so it says this is where the bad reputation comes in. Originally, Holy Family was meant just to serve white children who either lost their parents or were abandoned by them. That sounds bad enough on its own, but the first residents actually came as overflow from the orphanage in Assinins, which had sorted past all its own. 8 nuns arrived in Marquette with control of 60 Native American children, all whom had been ripped from the arms of their parents. Continuing efforts to assimilate Native culture into white mainstream society, locals today still tell stories of how their parents were stolen from their Native families, placed in the orphanage, and then adopted out to white families, never learning of their original heritage or customs until late adulthood. And then, obviously, there were allegations of abuse. When the orphanage was fully up and running, stories would leak out of children suffering at the hands of the nuns. It was a tough life, sure, with days filled with church, classes, and chores, but underneath workday existence was something much more sinister. Former children of the orphanage, once grown and moved out, often refused to speak of their time there, and they say that the nuns were cruel and inflicted unsettling punishments on the children. They heard of other children in the orphanage being beaten to death or left out in the cold Michigan winters. You know how cold it gets up in the Upper Peninsula. One story that's been passed around but has only been somewhat proven is of a small girl who went out to play during a snowstorm. The weather quickly took a turn for the worse. The girl became lost. One of the nuns had to rescue her, but by the time she got to her, the girl had developed pneumonia. She died a few days later. The nuns were still angry about her excursion out during winter and decided to make an example of her. They left her body on display in the lobby, and every child was forced to view the girl to be reminded about what could happen to them were they to disobey and go out into the bad weather. Former residents confirmed that the death did indeed take place. The nuns had a funeral for the girl in the basement. None, however, would say whether the body was actually put on display or not. Essentially, after a while, it did shut down in around 1967. The building was completely abandoned, soon falling victim to a bankrupt owner who lived out of state and didn't want to sell. But as of late 2017, the orphanage was purchased and remodeled and is now a retirement home / senior center. But before that, there were a lot of allegations, and there was sort of this ominous presence around the abandoned building that stood there until it was renovated.
Right.
And so there was a lot of talk about it being very haunted by past children who had died there or were
sounds like
abused.
There was quite a few.
Yeah. And so people would go there and claim to hear noises or hear footsteps. They would hear children laughing. There would be toys that were left there that hadn't been touched, and people would talk about urban explorers who would go through these buildings would talk about them being moved. Like it was in one spot when they were walking through, and then when they came back through the same area like 30 minutes later,
somewhere else.
Yeah, it was somewhere else, or it wasn't there anymore. There was people would claim to hear like screaming, like children screaming in agony and horror, children laughing, all sorts of different stuff going on in there. They'd claim to see apparitions of children wandering the halls, or if you were walking outside the building, the premises, and walking around the building, a lot of people would claim to see shadows up in the windows of some would claim it to be the nuns, and because the shadows would be too tall to be the children. Yeah. But some people would claim to see the children up there too. And so a lot of people would go in to the building, even in wintertime, they would go into the building, and it would actually be colder in the building than it was outside, which is really weird.
Yeah.
And so another thing too is that I feel like this always comes with any place that is said to be haunted, but very like almost passing the threshold of the doorway and going into the building, you immediately become like unnerved, right, and like very anxious, yeah, and like very very stressed and paranoid, like you're being watched and you weren't alone, even if you were alone.
Yep, a lot of those places they have that feeling.
And to kind of add to it, this orphanage was kind of out in the middle of nowhere too, which is
up there. That's not hard to do.
No, it's not. But Marquette is still a bigger, like it's the town, I think it's the biggest town up there in the UP.
Now Houghton is pretty big. But I think Marquette's it's a pretty good sized city.
Yeah, Marquette's definitely one of the bigger ones up there. Yep. So for it to be in Marquette but still kind of isolated away is kind of creepy in a way. But yeah, what is it?
Mine is actually a lot closer to home than I thought it was. This one here is a female ghost that walks around the grounds holding a candle and wearing a long gown. Could well be the most famous and creepiest ghost in the Ann Arbor area. This is a bizarre and true tale. So, according to Dixboro.com, in 1835, a widowed mother from Canada named Martha Crawford came to Michigan with her son to visit her sister, Anne. During the visit, Martha acquired a huge crush on Anne's brother-in-law, John. So much so that the two almost immediately and haphazardly began to planning their marriage. But there was a dark secret about John that prompted Anne to reveal the information to Martha, and upon hearing the unnerving information, Martha broke off the engagement. However, Anne's husband, James, warned her that if you don't marry John, you'll never make it back home alive. Out of fear for her and her son's life, Martha wound up marrying John after all. Soon afterwards, Anne passed away. Did John find out that Anne told Martha his dark secret and do away with her? Much to Martha's belief, John himself passed away in 1840, and a few months afterward, Martha began getting the same symptoms her sister Anne had before she died. Anne's husband James and Martha soon began squabbling over the rights to John's property and will. With the stress of all the legal hassle, Martha's health and mind were deteriorating quickly, which James took full advantage of and declared her incompetent. Martha visited doctors at the University of Michigan in 1845 in an attempt to end it all. She begged the doctor to bleed her to death. In exchange, she would reveal a secret about her late husband. She proceeded to tell the dark secret, but the doctor lied afterwards, saying that he couldn't bleed her because of faulty lancets. Becoming hysterical, Martha began screaming, "They're going to kill me," and indeed she passed not too long afterwards. Cause of death unknown, but officially was noted to ill health. Later, in 1845, the Isaac Van Wart family moved into the house where Martha died, and just days afterward began witnessing paranormal activity. Isaac was quoted in the Ann Arbor Press, "I can put my hand on the windowsill and looked in. I saw a woman with a candlestick in her hand, in which the candle was burning. She held it in her left hand and wore a loose gown, a white cloth around her head, her right hand clasped in her clothes near the waist. She was bent forward, her eyes large and much sunken, very pale indeed. She was She moved slowly across the floor until she entered the bedroom and closed the door. When I went and opened the door to the bedroom, it was all dark. I stepped forward and lit a candle, but saw no one, nor heard any noise, except just before I opened the door, I thought I heard one of the bureau drawers open and shut, like a big dresser.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He claimed to have seen the spirit around 10, 11 times. Each time, Isaac claimed she had spoken to him. Among things he claimed that she spoke were, "He robbed me little by little until they killed me. Oh, he did an awful thing to me." And he also said that she'd said that they were wicked and that they were wicked till the end. Those were all quotes that Isaac had been telling the paper and stuff.
Oh, about her.
Yeah, that was the stuff that she was telling him directly. After the last time she appeared, Isaac and his family moved out. They're like, I had enough of this. Well, actually, from what I gather is that Martha's husband was actually the crazy one there.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and she kind of got in the way. After more statements from Isaac about the more ghostly occurrences, the newspaper from the Ann Arbor to Detroit were reporting on the haunted house. Thanks to all its publicity, the house burned down sometime between 1860 and 1870, possibly by vandals. I don't know why you'd want to. And he says, "This place is creepy. We're going to burn this to the ground." No more of that. So with all that around that, and here's where it gets. Here, I mean, as if that's not weird enough, but to give you a little reason of why it was so weird, is that they actually think that they know Martha's husband's secret. So, what was the dark secret about Martha's husband? It was never revealed, but locals think they have figured it out. Okay, on the site where the house stood, there was also a tavern with a well. One night, a peddler stopped to stay for the night, but was missing by morning. All his goods, his wagon, his horse, were all still there, but he was never found. It was believed that he was murdered and dumped into the well, which was filled in, not too long afterward, by either John or James, or both. They were suspected to be the ones that eliminated the peddler, but there was never any proof. The story goes that these two killed the peddler, ditched the body in the well, covered it up, and found out about it, and told Martha. They all knew, so they ended up killing her. Now she haunts the grounds.
Ugh.
She haunts the grounds because her spirit can't go to rest because she's trying to solve the murder of her death or whatever. But yeah, that's not too far from here.
It's another one that's not too far from here too. That one reminds me. Well, the well part reminds me of that Warrant song, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
I don't know if I've heard that one.
That one's pretty good. This is about these two, this sheriff and this deputy and stuff. It's not the same. The only part that's really similar is that the people that they kill, they dumped into the wells and stuff. And so it's this guy. This song is about this woman that was cheating on her husband, which happened to be the deputy under the sheriff. So him and the sheriff. So the sheriff and the deputy kill this guy and throw him into the well. And then the song kind of picks up because Uncle Tom and his nephew see them throw the body into this well. And it's about keeping the secret, right, about the two officers killing someone and throwing them into the well and stuff, which is cool. It's a good song.
Wouldn't that be something? Because wouldn't that be some if the sheriff and the deputy were named John and James?
So this one's also in Michigan, southeast Michigan, actually.
It's right off in the left front yard.
Yep. So this is the Legend of Marrow Road. So
I think I saw that one in the list.
Yeah, really?
I think so.
So, Marrow Road is a lonely, isolated road in southeast Michigan. It's a rural road that began its life as a cow path in the 19th century. The south portion resides in Clay Township, and the north part in Cotersville Township. Two creeks intersect the road at two different points that at one point sported two simple railed bridges. Not many people live along this road, but can you blame them with a ghost lurking about? So, the legend of Marrow Road has endured for at least 125 years, and it will probably go on long after we've left this earthly plane. Well, some of us. I don't doubt there are a few of you who plan on lurking as a ghost afterwards.
Darn it, they figured out my secret.
It is one of many tales of a mother searching for her lost child. Will she ever find him? Our empathy wants to say yes. The tale begins in the late 1800s when a woman died in search of her missing child. A mother went to check on her son and found his bed empty. He had been snatched by kidnappers. Wearing only her nightgown, she ran outside to search, only to succumb to the elements. Another legend claims she had an illegitimate child, given that was a huge no-no at the time. She placed the child in a basket and left him under a bridge, but guilt over her actions drew her back to the bridge. When she arrived, the basket was empty. She died searching for him. Then there's the monster theory. This tells of a child-eating monster and theorizes that the woman's son and others were eaten by the so-called monster. Their souls turned to orbs, which many people have claimed to see in the area. There are more theories and tales that explain the haunting on Marrow Road, but it's hard to say if any hold water. But that doesn't discount the fact that people have seen something strange on that lonely stretch. As many sightings as there are tales, witnesses have seen a woman in a light blue nightgown who seems to be searching for something. A child's cry has been heard, as well as a woman screaming, "Where's my baby?" One man driving down the road one night saw a woman on the side of the road, and she appeared to be crying and in distress, so he stopped to offer aid. When she looked at him, she had no eyes, and there was blood and she was covered in blood. She screamed at him and demanded to know where her child was. The man took off terrified as she chased him. There are many claims of vehicle trouble driving down the road as well.
Yeah, that sounds like something I'm going to scratch off my list now.
I'm going to be going down that road.
Yeah?
Yep. It's only 60 miles.
From here?
Yeah, from here.
Oh.
Might be taking a day trip.
A soiree?
Yeah, soiree.
I don't know.
Cold winter night, perfect for a haunting.
You want crack?
I'm not going to go alone.
Oh.
I would never go alone.
Well, yeah, because if you go alone, then you have nothing to
Well, then you're just crazy.
You have nothing to support your stories.
Exactly.
Don't call me. I'm not going.
Come on, it's research.
Yeah, no, that's just plain crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
And chances are probably most of that stuff was probably seen when it was a lot warmer and not in the single digits.
Oh, no, that's when it's most fun. Did I tell you about when we went to that abandoned hospital in Indiana?
No. I remember you said that you'd went, but...
Yeah, that was when we were still living at our house back there. Me and Colin and a few others went. We drove like 3 hours to get there.
I remember you telling us that's where you went.
Yeah. And so we parked down the road, and there was actually a hole in the fence. So we went through the hole in the fence there, and we were checking out the hospital. Immediately we went in. It was creepy. There were all sorts of noises going on. We heard like a door slamming. I was already creeped out. We went and checked it out, though. It was just the wind blowing it.
Yeah.
But you couldn't go into the basement because it was completely flooded. And we walked around. You could go up all the floors. I think we explored every floor. up there, and it was cool, just like going into an abandoned building and just like exploring and seeing, what happened, what was up with it.
Right.
But we looked around, and there wasn't anything crazy happening. And we went outside because we wanted to see, because we'd read that before it was a hospital, it was a psychiatric asylum for like the mentally deranged and the mentally insane. And so I didn't know how true it was, because typically there's like remnants of it, to some degree, but we didn't find anything until we went outside, and there was this ladder that it was like 30 feet down to the underground, and it said that one of the things that was there was that they kept the dead on site, and so they had a catacomb system under the building, and so I think that's what that was led down to the catacombs area. We were too sketched out to actually go down there.
I'm surprised it wasn't flooded.
It was not flooded, which I was surprised too. We shined the light down there, and it might have been. It might have been like they had doors shut down there. If you open the doors, then it was like keeping the water in.
Yeah, usually it would be a special kind of door.
That's why I don't think it was flooded though, because it was separate from the hospital basement.
Okay.
It was to access it, you had to go outside and down the ladder. That was the only entrance to get to it. So I think that has something to do with like
that would be
the catacomb system.
Yeah.
We wanted to go down there and check it out, but it was a 25-foot, or it was like a 30-foot like down, and the ladder did not look the safest. I was really disappointed, because I'm like, there is a part of me that's like caveman brain, like just take the risk, just do it, you clown, just go down there. But the other part of me, the rational, somewhat intelligent, which can't be too intelligent, because I went to this building anyways. But
broke about 5 laws getting there.
The rational part of me was like, don't do that. You step on that ladder, it's gonna break. Or worst case, you get down there and then it breaks and you can't get back up.
Yeah, you didn't bring no climbing gear.
No, exactly.
Didn't bring a rope.
Nope. So we, as much as it would have been cool to go down there and explore like those underground catacombs, if that's even what it was, that would have been really cool.
I mean, it could have been just a store cellar for food.
It could have been, yeah, but I let the imagination go wild. There's some ghosts down there. They got skeletons, dead bodies, all sorts of stuff. But we were there until about 3 a.m, and then we were like circling around, because we had walkie-talkies. There were 6 of us, and so one group of 3 went and did their own thing, and then I think it was me, Gavin, and there was someone else with us. I forget who it was though.
Wasn't it somebody's girlfriend?
Yeah, someone's girlfriend, I think. But she was with Colin and her boyfriend and stuff, the 3 of them. And then I forget who it was who was with me and Gavin. But we were walking outside, and we heard this like ear-piercing scream come from inside the building. Right. We were at the exit by the fence where we came in, because we were getting ready to go. But we heard this, like, standing there, we heard this loud, ear-piercing scream come from inside the building. Like, you could tell it was inside the building. Right. And so we walkie-talkied Colin and his group and stuff. And we're like, hey, are you guys good? And stuff, is everything okay? That sounded like something really bad happened. And there he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, that scream, did you hear that scream and stuff? He was like, what? No, none of us screamed, and we didn't hear anything. I'm like, where are you guys at? And they're like, we're outside the building, but we're on the other side of the building.
So whatever was on your side of the building.
Yeah, it was on our side in the building.
Time to go.
The building that we had just spent like 3 hours walking through.
Right, but it could have been on outside. It could have been, it could have, the sound could have originated on the outside of the building, but just reflected off of the building. So
It's possible.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I'm
yeah,
just
it
saying.
was creepy though. I'm like, all right, well, that's perfect time to go. I have radioed con. I'm like, all right, just get back here, like right now. Something happened. We need to go.
Yeah.
And so we
The hair on the back of my neck is standing up. It is time to go.
Yep. So we like walked off, and it was like 4 a.m. at that point, and I think we got back around like 7.
Yeah,
7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then I just crashed for a while. That was cool though. Urban exploring's fun.
Yeah, if you say so.
Oh, I say so.
So I also have one on here, and this one here, everyone's heard of. As a matter of fact, I was going to do this one when Andrew was here with us way back when.
Yeah.
But I just figured we'd throw it in the back burner, and I figured, well, we'll dig it
Here
out
it
right
is.
now. Yeah. So this one here, no surprise, is the reports of a monster dating back to ancient times. Can you guess which one this is already?
Is that the Loch Ness
Yes.
Monster?
The modern legend of the Loch Ness Monster. The legend actually said that the legend actually began in 1933 with a couple that saw a large animal in the loch. In 1934, a photograph was published that claimed to show the monster. The hunt for Nessie begins. The photo was considered evidence of the monster's existence for almost 60 years, but later revealed it was a hoax. The scientific community generally believes the sightings of the Loch Ness Monster are hoaxes or misidentification of everyday objects. And we talked about that, I think the last one we talked about the Torch Lake Monster.
Yeah.
Right? It was probably just misidentification, which I think a lot of this stuff sometimes is. But there's a lot of interesting things that kind of make you sit back and go, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the actual earliest monster in the vicinity of Loch Ness actually goes way back before 1933. It's actually in the life of St. Columba by Adominin. Adominin. I don't know. I killed his name anyway. But that was written in the 7th century, right? So that's way back. Believers in the monster point to the story set in the river of Ness rather than the loch itself. The evidence for this creature's existence is as early as the 6th century. Skeptics question the narrative's reliability, noting that the water beast stories are extremely common in medieval hieroglyphics. So here's some of the facts about the Loch Ness Monster. The early evidence of the strange creature in the loch comes from carved stones depicting the beast with flippers, a long neck, and a head locket. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot. And even the picture in the 1930s kind of resembled that, and that's probably why it caught there. Right? And the first written accounts of Loch Ness Monster was in the 7th century biography of St. Columba. And then there's several people from 1871 all the way, ever since then, right?
Mm-hmm.
1871, 1872. You had, that was D. Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Right? And then there was Alexander MacDonald in 1888. Aldie McKay in 1933, which was the one I think that had the photo in the first place.
Yeah.
And he eventually said that it was just a hoax. But you also have George Spicer in 1933, Hugh Gray, Arthur Grant. Right?
I think the
and
thing
keeps going
that makes the Loch Ness Monster so popular, because I feel like it's one of the cornerstone legends. Right. Everyone knows about the Loch Ness Monster.
Right.
I feel like the reason for that is because of the amount of sightings that you've listed, whether they're real or not, is still to be determined.
Right.
But it's the fact that this thing has been seen since the 6th century, or claimed to have been seen since the 6th century. And it's all these different people from different time periods claiming to see the exact same thing.
In some sort of manner.
Yeah, in some sort of manner.
The descriptions had changed a little bit.
But I mean, that makes sense because,
right,
do you think it's going to stay the same after 100 years?
No.
You know, who knows if it's even the same monster or whatever.
Right, yeah.
How do you know it's not like reproducing and
Right.
then it's, you know?
Yeah, there's a set or whatever.
And it's interesting that it also all happens to be like the sightings all happen to be in the same place.
Right.
Too,
and
which is cool.
The cool thing about this one is that, you know, when you get back that far, you're like, okay, yeah, whatever. You know, there's no way that you can prove it, you know, to speak of. It's just, you know, hearsay until you get closer to the modern age with electronics, right?
Yeah.
So there's actually video in 2007, right?
Yeah.
There's sonar imaging in 2011, and in October, or I'm sorry, on the 24th of August, 2011, the Loch Ness boat captain, Marcus Atkinson, photographed a sonar image of about 1.5 meters wide and almost 5 meters long of an unidentified object that seemed to be following the boat for more than 2 minutes at a depth of 75 feet. It ruled out the possibility of a small fish or a seal because that's big for, you know, that's not a small fish. So, and in 2012, the scientists said, oh no, that was a bloom of algae. But I don't think, you know, I'm not too familiar on sonars, but I would think that algae and...
I feel like by that point, they'd know what algae looks like,
right?
You know, from a sonar. That
doesn't seem like that would pick up very well on sonar. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't go
I'm not a marine biologist, you know.
Yeah, not this week. And the next week might be a different story. But this week I'm going to stay off of that one. But then they got, and it even gets even sooner. In 2013, there was a video of a 5-minute video of a mysterious wave run through the loch, and we've all seen that. And that could easily had been, you know, a large fish or something. But 2013, 2014, this one's kind of cool too. In April 2014, there was a satellite imaging on Apple Maps that actually showed a large creature thought to be Loch Ness just below the surface. So, and then again, they had drone footage in 21. So, you know, it's at a legend standpoint in the past, right? It was always a person.
Yeah.
But now they're getting technology to pick something up that they got to go, what is that? Right? And the humans are going to naturally say, well, I think it was this.
Yeah.
But I don't think they really know.
Yeah.
So I did some, and you know, you and I had talked about fears a while back.
Yeah.
And you were talking about underwater and all that good stuff. So the Loch Ness has a depth of between 745 feet and 755 feet deep.
So that there's plenty of space for.
Oh yeah, the sonar is not gonna. I mean, with Loch Ness being as long as it is, and as deep as it is, it's going to have ridges and all kinds of undercrops, overcrops.
Yeah,
in that water, there are all kinds of places for stuff to hide like that. So just like the Torch Lake monster that we had talked about earlier in this season, here in Michigan, is very possible that Loch Ness is simply a misidentified fish with a following fisherman's tail that grows and grows. Or this is something lurking in the depths that just defies to be caught. Because, you know, being underwater is creepy enough as it is.
I hate underwater.
Yeah, I know you do.
I don't want to go there.
But if you could go to Loch Ness and get under there, would you go and just roam around and see what you could find?
Like dive?
Well, in like maybe a small sub or
Oh yeah, I think that would be cool.
Right.
700 in the grand scheme of things, 750 feet isn't that bad, and it's not like the Loch Ness is, these crazy crashing waves where the water's insane. You know?
I thought this one would have been a good one to talk with Andrew, since it's kind of near his backyard.
Yeah, that's true.
He probably would have had all kinds of cool stories for that one. But I think he had said that if you're going up that way, that's what you're going to see because there ain't nothing else up there.
Yeah. So it's pretty big.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess it's a pretty good steep climb up to that area too. I guess it's pretty mountainous.
Well, that's my question too, because like you were saying with the amount of technology that we have on stuff,
right,
that we should have been able to identify and find something like Bigfoot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to like, my question is, do you still feel that way after this story, knowing that like we have all this technology and the capability, but we still haven't proven whether the Loch Ness Monster exists? And the thing that's crazy there, the reason I ask this is because the Loch Ness is a lot smaller area to, comb through,
right,
versus like the massive miles of forest and natural forest that we have where these Bigfoots could be hiding.
Right. Well, the difference, and I think I've mentioned this before, the difference between underwater surveillance and forest surveillance is massively different.
Yeah.
You don't have thousands and thousands of people roaming underneath water.
Yeah.
And if my memory serves me right, I think I remember watching a documentary on Loch Ness years ago, right?
Yeah.
And I guess there's a whole series of underwater caverns.
Oh, okay.
That kind of pops in and out, right? So there could be, in theory, there could be a tunnel system under there that something could hide forever.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess you could say the same thing about the forests and everything. Like if these creatures,
right,
if Bigfoot is as intelligent as we claim it is, or that historically it's said that Bigfoot is,
right,
then he must have knowledge, like vast, far superior knowledge of the terrain, because maybe there's like hidden caves that we don't know about, or like brush or something that we haven't documented completely.
That would be easy to do when you're in the woods. I used to play in the woods as a kid all the time. I can go in my backyard and walk around at night and know pretty much everywhere to put every step, right?
Yeah,
because it's my backyard. When it comes to the mountains and Bigfoot, it would not be difficult for a creature that is intelligent as humans to know every step, where to step, when to step, and how to step, to stay away from being seen.
being found.
The problem is the technology of a lot of those forests. There's a lot of people that sit there, right?
Yeah.
That put up camera traps that record and send active video through cell service where they don't even have to be in the woods.
Yeah.
And they get constant updates about photos that are being taken. And there's never a photo that is released that shows something like that. And with as much coverage as you would have in the forest, unless the creature could smell or see infrared at night, whatever, or pick up IR light, you just can't miss those camera traps. You just can't. Now, when it comes to Loch Ness, you don't have all that technology underwater.
No.
You don't have people visiting, 3 or 4 months out of the year every day. So,
well,
yes,
you might, it's possible. And I guess the thing is too, because like you say that it's definitely a lot bigger surface because not as many people, how many people that are diving constantly, I guess.
And you're not diving at 700 feet either.
Yeah, well, because that also goes into like we just recently got the first ever photograph of the giant squid,
right?
And there is much less people in the ocean taking those pictures and finding that stuff, and it's just they found a way to take a photo of it in the vastness of the ocean.
Well, they just got lucky enough to come across it, right?
So I don't know if that's just like it's
the Loch Ness might be ticking, right? The time on it might be ticking. It somebody might get lucky, and somebody might find whatever that is being coined as the Loch Ness Monster. I I think it's far probable that you're going to find Bigfoot
Yeah.
before you find Loch Ness.
I also feel like there's a lot more Bigfoot. Big feet.
Bigfoots.
Yeah, Bigfoots.
How would you pluralize that?
Well, because like each region in the world, it's like they have a different name for Bigfoot.
Well,
like
and every country.
Yeah, well, America, it's Bigfoot. Over in like Mount Everest, they call it Yeti.
Yep. I think it's
abominable snowman.
Yep,
Yeti.
It's over there too, but I believe they have the same thing in Russia.
Yeah, I think you're right.
As well.
Down in Florida, in that area, it's called the skunk ape or the Florida Bigfoot.
Right, the skunk ape.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have them in South America.
Oh,
I'm sure they have them all over.
I'm sure they do too.
That's another legend that just kind of goes everywhere. Right?
Yeah,
just like the Loch Ness. If these cornerstone legends were to be proven, I think they're more apt to be proven as misidentification.
Yeah.
I believe more of an misidentification than an actual monster. Right. As for Bigfoot, there is so many people living in those woods that try to keep other people out of the woods. That would be a very easy legend to kind of play along with.
Yeah.
Hoax, I guess you'd say. That would definitely keep people out. I mean, it's going to draw a few people in, but it's going to keep a lot more people out.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
Loch
I didn't even
Ness,
think about that.
Loch Ness, Nessie, I don't think that you don't have somebody in a submarine floating around down there.
No. Well, I mean, and there were never any claims of like violence or anything with that particular legend, I believe, right?
No, I don't think so.
So it's just this really cool thing that you could potentially see.
People said they've seen it on land. One of them said they saw a large snake-like creature going across the road.
Yeah.
Into the water.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't meet the size requirement of the legend, right? It was like 6 feet long or something. Some of these legends say it's 40, 50 feet long, but could have been a baby. I don't know. It's hard telling. Like I said, a lot of these legends like this, I think a lot of them are misidentifications or just fishermen's tales.
Fair enough.
So, and with that, Corey and I would like to thank all of you that stayed tuned to the end of this crazy discussion.
Yes, sir.
And we hope that you enjoyed the topic. I know we enjoyed looking some of this stuff up. And we hope that you join us next week for more. Now, whether that is going to be a continuation or not, we haven't quite decided yet.
Oh, that might be an urban legend itself.
Yeah. So, remember, we would love for you to like and follow us at Break Up the Daily Grind on Facebook and YouTube. And we are also on Spotify. So Spotify, I think you can leave messages, but you can also rate us stars. We would much appreciate if you give us every star that you think we are worth.
Oh, yeah.
At 1 through 5. As long as you hit that star button, I'd be happy either way. All right? You can leave us comments and give us new topic ideas. We would just love to hear from you in general.
Indeed.
Yep. And to do that, like I said, you can do that on Facebook and YouTube. You can also email us at mo9studios@gmail.com. Please send us the dedication requests.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Favorite dad jokes. And thought of the days, or thought of the week, which we are going to give you for this week right now.
To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist. That is all. Oscar Wilde.
Oscar, I think you hit the hammer right on the head of the nail. And with that, we will see you next time. Bye.
Later, skaters.